Good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining us for the Syntero Forever Dublin presentation on learning about podcasts, information, and education. My name is Victoria Alexander, and I am the Older Adult Supervisor for the Older Adult Programs at Syntero. Before we begin this presentation, I do wish to inform you that it will be recorded and archived, and so if you choose not to have your image recorded, please cancel the video option at the bottom left of your screen. Questions are welcome and encouraged, but we ask that you utilize the chat function so that the presentation may flow. I'm so pleased to introduce you to Marianne Bailey, owner of OnlineTechLessons.com. Marianne has an extensive background in end-user technology such as cell phones, tablets, and laptops. She has a degree in digital marketing and communications. In a past life, she was a trainer for Hewlett-Packard. She started teaching technology to seniors 20 years ago and has been doing it full-time for the past 10. Marianne saw a need to teach and instruct older adults on various computer programs and apps. Her classes range from Facebook 101, blogging techniques, tips and tricks, to shopping online with confidence, to creating your own podcast. Marianne instructs both individuals and groups, and today she will explore the world of podcasts, what they are and how you can access them, and tips to navigate the screen to have the best possible experience. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me. So, podcasts and blogs. These days, there's a lot of podcasts and blogs out there, and a lot of people are listening and following them and creating their own. And I apologize if you guys hear planes, but the Air Force seems to be doing a bunch of touch and goes today over my house, so apologize for the noise. So we're going to start with podcasts and what they are and how you can find them. Now, there are several platforms out there that we can use, such as Spotify, Apple, Google, different avenues that you can find podcasts. But today we're just going to focus on one of them due to shortage of time and a lot of information that we could just go all over the place with. So we're going to focus on Spotify and how to do that. And I am going to share my screen. And let me know, Victoria, if you see my screen.
Yep, I can see your screen. Thank you.
Okay. So this is Spotify. This is you'll see it down here on the bottom of my screen, that icon. That's a green icon if you need to download it from, if you need to go to the web or download it from the Apple Store or from Google Play. And what it does is it is an audio player that focuses on different things, such as podcasts, music, sometimes they have language lessons in there. It's just an overall general, really great program to find different things. So when we go in here, it looks like this, and you can actually create different playlists that you have. One of my last classes, Teresa Youngstrom created, and we added some of her favorite songs, and so you can actually add different stuff. But you can also do that with podcasts as well. So when we're on our home screen, you can actually scroll down and see like some of your top shows, different music that you play, different new episodes usually are podcast things, different stuff like that. So Victoria, do you listen to podcasts?
I do listen to a few on neuroplasticity and brain health, things like that.
Okay. So I listen to a lot of business related ones, and ones about seniors and how they relate to different businesses, how they interact with each other, what interests them, because my main business, the Hip Senior, has a magazine and directory that focuses on those things as well. So those are kind of my interest in that. So always, how to market it and how to market other businesses and then stuff. So one of my favorite ones is Soul Source Business by Christine Kane. And so basically, if you're looking for any specific subject or the name, you can go into search and you can search for podcasts. And so, but let me back up. So for those who don't know what a podcast is basically a radio show that is a talk show. So imagine a radio talk show that we used to have, and we used to have guests come on and stuff like that. It's kind of that, but it's now on the internet, and it can have multiple guests, and these guests can be anywhere throughout the world. And the software that they broadcasted on kind of just like brings everybody together. And then they have the ability to be able to broadcast that all over the internet. So instead of it just being limited to radio, we're now on the internet with that. And it gives everybody a lot of leverage to be able to share this information across social medias and different websites to get the name out there and stuff like that. So that's what a podcast is. It's basically an internet radio show. And so if we type up here podcast in the search, it's going to come up with all different kinds of information about them. And when you scroll down a little bit, it's going to say podcast. So we're going to click on that header just to kind of open this up a little bit more. And you can see there's all different kinds. So the Hip Senior actually has a podcast. I'll do a little selfless promotion here. And we'll go in and take a look at that and see what that looks like for us. So if we type in the Hip Senior, it brings us to our business edition. And then we have one where we talk to seniors here as well. So we'll click on the business edition. And this is one, just to give you an example, where you can actually go in here and we go in here and we talk to different businesses that serve senior citizens. And we ask them, you know, what is it you do? Why do you like working with seniors? What's the best way for them to get in touch with you and stuff like that. So these are all different podcast episodes. And when we click on this play button, that's where we're going to get it. So for people that want to create a podcast, we use this program called Anchor. And so that's how to listen to them. But when we talk about creating them, there's this program called Anchor.fm. It is owned by Spotify. There's another plane. It is, Anchor is owned by Spotify, and what you do is you say get started, and you create an account, and then you're able to start. I'll go ahead and sign in to mine so that we can see. Okay. And so it's really, really simple if you weren't looking at creating a new podcast. All you do is you create this account, and then you set up some information. You upload a photo about what it is. You put it in a description about what you want a podcast. And you kind of really have to narrow that down a little bit more. What kind of podcast and who do you want to listen to it? There's, when you sit, a lot of times when like I created this, I was like, well, I want businesses about seniors to listen to it, but I want seniors to listen to it. And I found out that it was really hard to market to both of those with just one podcast. And that's how we ended up with 2 podcasts. So we had to split it up into the 2 different ones. So that's something you kind of have to think about. If you're doing a podcast, say about baseball, well, then you want baseball players or baseball watchers, baseball affiliate of fans, different stuff. Who is your end goal with this? What are you trying to do? Are you trying to talk to people who just watch baseball games and they get really excited about them? Are you trying to talk to or about baseball players and those are your target market? Who's your target market? And if you think, oh, I'm just using this as a hobby, okay, great. You still have a target market of who you want to listen to that podcast. So it's really easy. They made this super simple. You just go up here and you say new episode. And then what you do is you can actually go in here and you can actually record straight from your browser. You click on record, and then you give your computer access to be able to listen to you. And then you can say start recording now. and it kind of does all the work for you. It puts it all in here. And then you can actually go in here and choose music to add to it. People can phone in with different messages. You can actually, there's a link in here that you can actually give them out that will allow them to hop on and send you a message or a question that you can include in your podcast, as well as different transitions, things that enable it to flow in and out, to end a different session, to play music for it, or an introduction, different things like that. Just different little transactions like that. So like I said, Anchor.fm, the really nice part about it, like I said, it's owned by Spotify. So when you create a podcast in here, it automatically gets put into Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. The list goes on and on. So it's free. You can actually even monetize it so that you put in different little ads. And the first one you do is Anchor walks you through creating an advertisement for them. And they actually put that in there. And then every time somebody listens to your podcast, then it pays you. It's only a couple cents per listen, but it adds up. Especially if you got really popular out there. So it doesn't cost you, plus it makes you money. That's a win-win, right? So I would definitely check that out. It's anchor.fm to be able to do that. And then again, if you wanted to be able to listen to different podcasts, just about every subject out there. Victoria, give me a subject that maybe a senior might search for a podcast.
Maybe we can ask one of the, I have a few ideas, but I don't want to speak on behalf of our guests.
Debbie, can you think of something that you might search for as a senior that you might be interested in listening for? She's shaking her head no.
I mean, I don't know. So many things come to my head. I like cooking, traveling. There's so
Okay, let's
much.
try cooking. Okay, being a senior and cooking.
Exercising. I mean, gosh.
Okay, look, there's one for being a senior and cooking. Let's check this out. Being a senior, cooking, movies, daily motivation, and building my personality Q&A. All right. What if we just wanted to say like something like, what if we wanted to get specific, like Chinese cooking? Let me search for that. Maybe that's not. Maybe that's just a Chinese cooking podcast. How to cook Chinese food episode. So this is a podcast. And then we can go in there and it allows you to listen to it. Now this little plus here, this will give you the ability to add this to like it so that you're able to find this again. And when you come over here, let's see if it's under episodes. When I clicked that, it added it over here to your episodes. And so there is how to cook Chinese, right? Let's go back. And then Spotify, when you have, I think it's only when you have a paid account. Well, and I think it's around somewhere between $7 and $10 a month. They'll actually allow you to download different music and different podcasts as well to your device. So say you're out in the garden planting stuff or harvesting stuff. It's summertime, right? All of us have a lot of gardens and stuff going on. You're out there and you don't really have great Wi-Fi out in your garden. You can actually download this episode so that you can listen to it on your cell phone and earbuds while you're out working in the garden. So that's a really nice feature as well. But then when you want to just play this, you just click play. And then if you want to pause it, you would click pause down here while it's playing. Then you can even create this. So say you wanted to add a different bunch of podcasts about cooking all different ethnicities of food. You would actually click these three little dots. And usually what this three dots means, it's a hamburger menu. And when you see three dots horizontally or vertically, And that means that there's a menu behind it and you want to go explore what's behind that. That could also be 3 lines vertically or horizontally as well. So if we click that, that gives us more of a menu. And we could actually add this to a playlist. We could go in here and say new playlist. And did not add a playlist, new playlist. Okay, so then when we went in here, you could actually say we want to edit details. In this playlist, we want to say cooking and then save. And so what that will do is it'll save that to that cooking playlist every time you want to do it. And then you could just play that playlist and listen to all those different podcasts that are in there as well. So that's a little bit about podcast. I don't want to go into more detail because we also need to get over to blogs as well. But on that, did we have any questions, Debbie? Hi, Dick. I see that you've joined us. We're going over podcast, and Catherine too. Hi, welcome to the class. If you guys have any questions, just be sure to add them in chat, and we'll make sure that we cover that for you. Before you joined, we went over different stuff about creating and what podcasts were. We're going to move on to blogs. And blogs are kind of the same avenue as podcasts, but a blog is more of a written version of whatever it is that you want to create. There are blogs out there about literally every single subject that you could possibly ever imagine. Before we got on, I was looking up some senior related blogs, and really just if you wanted to ever find a blog, just type in Google senior creative blog and you would find dozens and dozens.
If I wanted to find gardening hand tools, could I do that?
If you want to find what, Dick?
Gardening hand tools for seniors.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Gardening and
hand tools.
Blog.
I'm 90.
Hey, that's fine. That's awesome. All right, hand tools every gardener should own. How about that?
I do a lot of gardening.
What's your favorite thing to garden?
The lilies are coming out right now just beautifully. I planted 12 tree lilies, and they're just blooming today. And I got 3 big vats of cherries from my cherry tree yesterday.
Oh, nice.
Oh, they're wonderful. Anybody want to make cherry pies? I got a whole bunch of cherries.
Oh, I'm coming to see you. That's my favorite pie of all times, is cherry pie.
Mine too.
So
I got about 6 cherry trees.
All right. So I searched for gardening and hand tools like he asked for. And this one kind of has the pictures are kind of big and
oh, yeah.
kind of awkward.
I see a couple that I use. Yeah.
Yeah. But this is this person's blog. I mean, you just go searching for what you're looking for. I mean, this is gardening. But let's go back a little bit. Google's always our friend when it comes to looking for different things, right? So sometimes if you search for something and it's not coming up with what you're looking for, maybe sometimes you added too many words and it was looking too broad of a picture for things. Right. Or sometimes you just didn't type in enough words. And so think of if you were going to say, okay, I want to search for, and he asked for gardening and hand tools. We type that in, but maybe we just want to type in gardening blog. And so let's reduce it a little bit and see what kind of information, they do. Most garden centers, by the way, all have blogs. So,
okay.
So usually that's on the case with that. Let's see who's drawing on my screen. Let's see if we can erase. There we go. Okay, let's get out of that. Mouse. Okay, so we'll go to Platte Hill Nursery, and we can see they are a nursery, and I'm sure we could go shopping on their website, but they also have a blog. And so a lot of times these blogs are a way of getting the word out there about that business. So, if you're looking for a blog, Google it. Google's going to be your best friend with that. Look on nurseries, look on cooking websites, look at, here in Dayton, we have Dorothy Lane Market. They have a blog about different recipes that they're cooking, maybe that cherry pie, right?
Right.
Or different stuff like that. But what if you want to create your own blog? What if you want to talk about, Dick, what if you wanted to talk about your garden and what you planted and how you grow things and what you grow and different stuff like that? What if you wanted to do that? Then let's talk a little bit about how to do that as well.
Okay.
So over here, I have to keep erasing stuff. So whoever's drawing on the screen, please stop. Over here, we have what's called Blogger. And Blogger is a way that you can create your own very own blog. So what is your dream? What are some things that you're knowledgeable or curious about and you want to create a blog? What if you are not knowledgeable in something and you wanted to go on and create a blog where you went and interviewed people about things that you were curious about? Say you're not a rocket science, but you have a friend that's a rocket scientist and you wanted to interview them about different questions about black holes or rockets or spaceships or whatever the case may be. Well, you can create a blog about whatever it is that you want to ask people about, and you can do different stuff. So we're going to go in here and we go to blogger.com and we're going to click sign in. Well, if you have a Gmail account, now Blogger is owned by Google. So if you have a Gmail account, then you're going to use that to log in. You automatically have access to that.
Okay.
Okay. So great. Who's drawing? Who's touching their screen? So when we do that, we're going to click on, you're going to log in and it's going to ask you for that. I've already logged into this, so I'm just going to click on my email. But if you didn't, you would click on here and you would log in. If you don't have a Gmail account, go to gmail.com and create one for this purpose. It's really the easiest way to do that. Okay. So we're going to click on here. And we're going to choose a name for our blog. So, Dick, I'm going to give you the honor. What is our new blog name?
Gardening for Seniors.
Gardening for Seniors. Okay. And then we'll say Gardening for Seniors. And then it's going to create .blogspot.com.
I'll do that.
Okay. And then whatever you want the display name to be is what you're going to type here. So we'll type in Gardening for Seniors. And that's going to be what people see as the overall name for that. Okay, so it says processing down here.
Wonderful.
Okay. And Google has to do all this stuff for European access and all this other stuff these days. Okay, so now we're left with a blank screen. Okay, we want to go in here and kind of do a little design work on this. So we're going to go over here to theme. And we can scroll down and there's all different kinds of ways that our blog can look. Okay, so, and then if we scroll back up here to the top, let's see if I don't see a search one. So let's just kind of go through and see one that might fit a gardening one. I tend to like the simple ones, but those are really simple and kind of boring looking. Maybe some of these at the top up here. What do you think, Dick? Keep in mind, these have food, but these could just as easily. You want to choose this one, Dick?
Well, yeah, as you get older, you don't have less of an appetite.
Yeah, but we're talking about gardening. This is just the way it's going to be laid out. So
I got you.
Yeah. So let's click on this one as an example, and we'll say apply. Okay.
Apply.
Okay, now that was applied. So this is going to be like the basic way our blog is going to look. And then what you do is you go in here and you say new post. So it gives you kind of a blank screen. What is it that you want to talk about in this post on our blog? So I don't know, Dick, let's go find
miniature cherry trees.
Cherry. Well, let's find cherry trees. We talked about them a little bit ago. So cherry
trees, right?
No, you don't need to know my location. That's okay. So we're going to find out some information about cherry trees. These are ones that are kind of for sale. Let's type in a little more specific. So how to grow. Now, guys, usually we would not be Googling this information because you're the expert on this, right? And you're going to create your own information about how to do that. For the sake of time today, Dick and I are not going to write this post together. We're just going to find some information to be able to post in here. So tips for planting cherry trees.
Somebody who's away from home.
You what?
An expert is somebody who's away from home.
All right, so we're going to copy that and we're going to go back over here to our post and we're going to put in some information. Okay, and then let's go back here and capture.
Great tips for planting cherry trees. That's great.
Save image as, and we will put this on our desktop real fast. Okay, and then we can go in here and so let's put a insert image. So every time you put your mouse over one of these things, it'll tell you exactly what that button is going to do. So that's the best way to learn this program is just to play around. Go in here, you can add numbered lists, you can add quotes, you can upload pictures. So we're going to upload pictures of those cherries that I just downloaded. Always make sure that when you download photos that they're free to use. Pexels.com, I'll show you, Pexels.com is a great one where you can get different photos. You can easily type in what it is you're looking for and it's going to show you all kinds of different pictures for that. But we downloaded a photo already, so we're going to choose file. And I downloaded it to my desktop. So I'm going to click on desktop and there's that photo of those cherries. I'm going to click it, click open, and it's going to upload it. And we're going to say select. And now these are in here. Now you can either right align it so that, you know, some text goes next to it. We could go in here and center it, or we could go over here and put it to the left. We can resize it, say we wanted it to be bigger. We could go in here and pull it, and then we have some information over there. So up here at the top, it says title. So we're going to say how to plant cherry trees. And again, whatever your blog is, you're going to be the expert. So you're not going to be Googling stuff and pasting it in here. That will get you sued. So don't do that. It's copywriting. Same rules apply back to when we were in school and we couldn't do that for theses and stuff like that. Don't do that here. And so then what we would do is say preview, and the preview will show us what your blog entry is going to look like. This photo's really, they kind of make them big and blurred, but here's a better thing of that. And so then what if we didn't necessarily like the picture being that big? We can go back and resize it. We can go in here and change, you know, how that's going to look on that. We can even go in here. If there's an extra space here, we can edit different stuff. Make sure you go through here and make sure spelling is correct. Things that are misspelled will be underlined. You can even go in here and change different things about the text. You can change the color of the text. So say we want it red since cherries are red.
Right.
Or we wanted to underline part of it or make part of it bold. So there we did that. Or we wanted to, you know, align it in different ways. we would go in here and say that we wanted to justify it. That way it looks more like an article in a magazine would. Okay. And then you just play around with the different settings and stuff like that. So say, a lot of times if you're doing a blog like this, don't make these really, really big paragraphs. These days, people just aren't into sitting at their computer reading really long paragraphs. They want to read little short blurbs of stuff, two, 3 sentences on to the next thought or subject. Unless it's something that's very, very specific and detailed as far as like this one might be, how to plant this, do we need to cut the roots? Do we need to, how far do we need to dig the hole for it? Different stuff. So that case, you might want to go in here and split this up. But then if we were going to do that, you might say, okay, so here's a list of the top 10 things that you want to do. So we're going to dig a hole. 1 foot deep. I don't know. I know nothing about gardening. I'm not the gardener in the family. Me too. Prune your roots. 3, plant your tree. Whatever. So you see that. So you can actually make lists of stuff. And then if you wanted that to be like the focus of stuff, you could actually go in here and decide. It's going to be a paragraph. We lost our numbers when we did that. See what happened here? It screwed, to me, that screwed it up, right? We can go in here. If we screw something up, don't be worried about playing with this, because you can always hit back, and now we're back to our list. If we got this 4, we're just going to hit back and take that out. So just play around with it. Have some fun with it. You can create a blog that just says, my random thoughts about the world. You don't even have to have a specific blog. Or what if you wanted to create a blog about your legacy? I want to tell my life story. I want to tell how I met my wife or my husband. I want to tell some stories from when I was in the military. I want to tell things about when I taught kids in school. Whatever it is you want to talk about, it's really, the old saying, the world's your oyster. Well, a blog is your oyster too. You can create things about whatever you want to do. So we're going to go in here and we're going to leave this like this. And then we're going to go in here and say publish. And we're going to confirm. And so there's that listing. So now we can go in here, and so if we went, let's try opening up a new. So gardening for seniors.blogspot.com, even though we went to blog, or blogspot is their URL thing. So we're going to there, and there's our post.
Oh yeah. Huh.
So this is the back end look of it, and this is the front. So when we start adding more articles to that, that will all fill out and it'll start looking like it did when we chose this template. But say we want to say, oh, I really don't like that color. I don't really like the way it's laid out. We can actually go in here and see, it says main color theme. We could go in here and say, you know what? I really like purple. I want my stuff to be purple. And so now some of the different things in here end up being purple and has this green or whatever. But no, I don't like that. I'm going to go back to the way it was. And then you can actually go in here and add choose different fonts that you want to make as your font. Which one do you want to use? Different colors for different stuff. All different kinds of stuff. You go through and customize this. And like I said, play around with it. You just never know what you're going to like until you don't know what you know. And then when you find it, you'll know. So what your favorite colors are, you can make it all that. It's your design. And then you can actually go in here and choose different layouts for that as well. You'll see that it'll start to have about me. We'll go in there in different stuff. You'll say, pages on there, but it'll show you like it has on there, it'll have the different stuff, and then it'll have a sidebar that will have different things. They'll have a part about you, and you can click edit and just play around with the settings and different stuff. Dick, what questions do you have for me?
Well, I don't really have any questions. It's wonderful. I love the article you brought up and reading it. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody else have any questions?
Um, I I missed the part about oh dear, why we were writing a blog. So the blog is. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm getting the feedback. The blog, yeah. In other words, I am really a novice, and I thought a podcast and a blog were not the same thing. I guess that's
They are not. They are not. If you joined us late, we went over podcast in the very beginning of this.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and we're going to provide you with the recording for it, so you can go back and watch that.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Repeat them. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we kind of went over using Spotify here as a place to be able to listen to podcasts. And we also talked about Anchor FM as a place to be able to create a podcast. But watch the recording and you'll get all that information back in that. And then we moved forward to creating a blog. And anything, like I said, if you want, a blog is kind of a written version of a podcast. Blogs existed first before a podcast ever came out. A podcast is like a radio show, but on the internet, right? And a blog is a story written by anybody who wants to tell a story. So it could be Dick wanting to talk about gardening. It could be you talking about your grandchildren or conspiracy theories or anything that you wanted to put out there. You can choose to create a blog just about anything or just be able to go in there. And we also talked about Googling for different blogs and what would interest you. Dick wanted us to Google, so we Googled gardening.
Right. I got all that. That's fine. We have a son who is blind, and I was thinking that podcasts would be a lovely interest for him, when you could pull up whatever you wanted to, rather than be limited with what the blind people send you, even though you still have a choice there. But I thought if he could learn how to do the podcast, that would be helpful to him. So I guess that's my ulterior motive here today.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great idea. And I think that you're an awesome mom for wanting to get him involved in things like that. So, what we talked about was here on, if you go to anchor.fm and create an account, it is free. And the nice thing about it is that Anchor actually is owned by Spotify. So whatever podcast is created on Anchor is also uploaded through Spotify, through Apple, Google, all the different major podcast servers. And so it's really, really simple. And I'll go through this again for you since we missed it earlier. But you can just he can go on here and literally just hit record in the browser. You don't need any special software. You don't even really need a special microphone. You can get, ones that clip onto you or ones that sit right in front of you. But if he's just starting out, see if he likes it, and then just literally start recording now from the browser. And then you can add different transitions and stuff, or you can just leave it, whatever it is that he says, hit save episode, and then you can share that link out from there.
Thank you.
So it's really one of the simplest ways to create a podcast out there. Okay, did anybody else have any more questions? All right. Well, if nobody else has any more questions, Dick, did you have any more questions about blogs? Dick, you're muted. Dick, we can't hear you. You're muted.
I got it.
There you go.
I learned a lot. I'm going to, as soon as we finish here, I'm going to get on anchor.com and start doing it.
Good for you. Send me, support@onlinetechlessons.com. Send me your link and let me listen to it, okay?
All right.
All right. Well, Victoria, I think that's about all I have for today.
Awesome.
Wonderful.
Well, thank you so much, Marianne.
My pleasure.
Very informative. And we will have this added to our archives. And I'm glad some people could join us today.
Thank you,
It's
Absolutely.
great seeing everybody.
All right.
You guys have a great rest
If you
of your
guys need any
day.
help, like I said, my email is support@onlinetechlessons.com. Feel free to reach out to me and I'll be able to give you some more tips and hints should you need some more help.
Wonderful. Thank you.
All right.